Mr. Buttigieg, thank you for joining us on Up North News Radio. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Well, appreciate you here, except for the one concern. You're the no longer secret weapon when it comes to making appearances on Fox News and other far right media. Did we do anything wrong that you're here today? Have we started drifting to the right or something, or you've become school us on some stuff we've been saying? I hope not.
And we try to be broad spectrum here. Just like we got a coalition that ranges now from AOC to Dick Cheney. We want to make sure we're reaching media across the spectrum too.
Yeah. Hey, in that vein, there's so much talk about the swing states and of course some of the big cities like Milwaukee here in Wisconsin, but you were mayor of a small Midwestern city. We are full of small Midwestern cities here. So I wanted to start by asking, based from your experience, what folks in those small cities around Wisconsin need to know about what would be the difference between a Harris presidency versus another Trump presidency from that Wisconsin community standpoint.
Well, first I'd start with the kind of values that I think Midwestern communities have, including the ability to disagree without it turning into a political death match. And, unfortunately, this kind of dark version of politics that Donald Trump has been selling for the last 10 years has made it harder and harder to do that. She's been very clear that she wants people who disagree with her at the table, just like there's a lot of Republicans in her campaign. While he has made clear that he thinks if you're an American citizen who disagrees with him, you're the enemy, which is just a dangerous thing to have in the most powerful person in the country. A little more close to the ground, I grew up in a community where they told us all the factory jobs were gone forever. That's changing right now. In South Bend, where I grew up, in Michigan, where I live now, and I know for a fact that's changing in Wisconsin too. Matter of fact, we're seeing an all-time record high in terms of factory construction. At least ever since they kept modern statistics, there have never been this many people in the building trades, building factories, all at the same time. And that's something we've really got to work hard to keep going. Most folks I know in Midwestern communities, they aren't looking for more tax cuts for the rich. And however they might feel about very personal issues like abortion, they tend to believe that a woman ought to be the one making that decision, which is, of course, what we believe, what she believes, and why we really want to reverse Donald Trump's decision to end the right to choose. Last thing I would say is just, there's so many communities where I think people grew up getting the message that if you wanted to succeed, you got to get out. I thought that was true coming from the Midwest, only to discover that I found meaning and purpose in the part of the country that I came from. And fell in love with a teacher who went to school at Eau Claire, and we live and are raising our kids in Michigan. And we're working hard to make sure that the communities that we come from, including smaller communities, that they thrive into the middle of the 21st century.
We've spoken a couple of times with people who have been national security leaders during the Trump administration, but I want to go there again because I feel like you would have a unique perspective on it from a national security standpoint as somebody who has served the country. And again, the differences between what a Harris administration would do versus a Trump administration when it comes to our own security, when it comes to our global standing, and frankly, global security as well.
When I was serving in Afghanistan, the people that I served with, if we were going outside the wire, they could have cared less what political party I belonged to. They just want to know that I could do a good job, and vice versa in terms of how I looked at them. We had the American flag in common, and that was enough. Unfortunately, Donald Trump's taken us down a very different path, one where anybody who disagrees with you is the enemy. The other thing that really strikes me is, many of these military leaders are very non-political. The last thing they would normally be comfortable doing is weighing in on partisan politics of any kind. And it is astonishing. I don't think that there's any precedent in modern memory for this many people in national security. We're talking four-star generals, and we're talking about people he appointed, his political appointees, who are now saying, don't let this guy anywhere near the Situation Room. He doesn't have our best interests at heart, and Americans will be less safe if he's in charge.
Last question then deals with the election and public confidence in it. If Donald Trump either falls short or if things are in flux, in the middle part of the week, we know what he's going to say. And there are some folks who are going to believe what he says about fraud or insecurities or things. What's your advice to Wisconsin voters if it's taking a while to count. And if, like 4 years ago, Trump supporters are expressing all of these doubts, whether rooted in fact or not.
The way an election is supposed to work is if you don't win, you pick yourself up and move on. That's what I've done when I lose an election. It's no fun. Having won and lost, you'd definitely rather be winning, but you don't turn around and trash the system for political benefit. My main message is we've seen this before. This is exactly what he did 4 years ago. Count on trusted sources, your Secretary of State, your county election administrators, not somebody who has already made it clear that any outcome besides him winning, he's going to try to undermine. And remember, last time around, they tried to challenge the legitimacy of the election. They had about 50 lawsuits. They lost every single one of them. And the reason is, in a court of law, you have to actually support your claims with evidence, and there are penalties for lying. That's why he does so much worse in a court of law than he does on Twitter or some of the other places where they spread false information. So again, listen to credible sources and know that your vote will be counted and that good people are making sure that every eligible vote and only eligible votes are counted in this election.
Pete Buttigieg, thank you for your time. I hope we get to talk again soon about making some big plans for 2025. But in the meantime, thanks for spending some time with us. Good luck this week.
Same here. Thank you.